Good evening, everyone. This is Abhinav Srivastav along with Harish, and we are going to be your hosts for the evening. I am currently a DSC lead in my third year, a full stack developer, along with a beta Microsoft Learn student ambassador. Over to you, Harish.
Thank you so much for introducing me, Abhinav. I am Harish. I am the Github campus expert, DSC lead of NIT Rourkela, and we are organizing Hack Idea 2.0, and I am the lead organizer of it. I'm so excited for this session, and I hope you people are too. So let's get
Okay,
over to
so
the.
before we get started, let's introduce you all to the hackathons which we are conducting at our respective chapters. You all can find them on the link given in description, that is Hack NITR version 2.0 and Bitbox. Both hackathons are online one, and you can register them from anywhere and you can hack them anytime. So as far as the theme for the hackathons is concerned, the theme for Bitbox is the solution challenge. The theme, that is the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. And what's the theme of Hack NIT here, Harish?
Yeah, sure. So this year we planned it to keep it open. We don't really have any theme. We just want to encourage developers to build what they're passionate about. We want to give them the opportunity. Acha, come, let's build what you're interested in and get a prize for the same. So that is why we kept it open and free for all. And although we do have some tracks, which might be, of example, like if somebody needs to work on a specific track and they want to get some track prizes. So we do have 4 tracks: fun and entertainment, social good, old hacks, and open innovation. So feel free to check us out on our website.
That's really amazing. So, apart from the hackathon, what else do hackers have from their perspective? Like, what else do they get?
Sure. So apart from hackathon, which is like the mainstream event, we have a couple of speaker sessions, and this is one of the first. Like, I'm really glad to kick off our Hackanetia speaker series with this session. And we do have a lot of mini events happening in our Discord. And another cool thing is almost everybody who submits a valid hack gets a sticker shipped right to their home. So you don't really have to win anything. All you have to do is just submit a hack, because we want this to welcome more newcomers. We want them to encourage those people. So that's why we are doing it. We're keeping it open and we're keeping it cool. So come on, hackers, build something.
That's really amazing. So as far as the mini events of Bitbox are concerned, I can make sure that there are loads of cash prizes in the bag, and we are releasing mini events on a rolling basis. One was released yesterday, that was make a meme. You can just submit a meme related to technology, and you can pocket a 500 cash. That's as simple as that, and it's completely an unpaid. Like, both the hackathons are unpaid hackathons, so you can just straight away find the link in the description of the webinar, and you can register for them straight away. So, without further ado, we will be introducing our speakers for the evening. First, I'll be introducing Aditya Oberoi, who is a Gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and he recently won a hackathon. So, Aditya, would you like to speak something?
Thank you so much for that, Abhinav. Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. I am Aditya Oberoi. I'm currently a third year engineering student here at Amity, Noida. And I spend most of my time working with tech communities and hackathons, more actively as a Gold Microsoft Student Ambassador and a Major League Hacking coach. And yes, recently I was selected as the national winner in the education category here at Microsoft Imagine Cup 2021 for India.
That is so awesome. Let me introduce the next speaker whom we have today. We have Pragati here, who is an MLH fellow and also a DSC lead. She also is a winner at Hacking Out 7.0. Hi, Pragati. It's great to have you here. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm really glad to be here and thank you Abhinav and Harish for inviting me to this session. And to my introduction, Harish mostly said it. I'm an MLH fellow currently, also a DSC lead at DSC JSS Noida, and I'm also a full stack developer. I love participating in hackathons, and we have me and my team have won two of the biggest hackathons of India, In Out and Smart India Hackathon. So I hope I can help you all with some great suggestions today.
Yeah, winning hackathons back to back feels really amazing. So, introducing our next speaker for the evening, that is Yash Khare. He is an MLH fellow, and he was a G Soccer as well. And he's also a member and mentor at the community Amphos. So, over to you, Yash.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Harish and Abhinav, for having me here. So, thanks for the introduction, Abhinav. I guess you basically covered it. I am a third year at Amrita Vishwavidyapitham, and I'm a GitHub campus expert from a community there, Amphos. I have been an MLH fellow under GSoccer in 2020. And besides that, I help mentor a team called AmHacks at our college as well. So I hope I'll be able to answer quite a few questions about hackathons.
Thanks for the beautiful introduction, speakers. So before we move ahead with the questions, let me just give you a quick brief of how this event is going to be. So we have a few set of questions already decided. So we'll be asking the judges, I mean the panel, about their answers. And we also want you people, like if you have any questions that you want the panel to answer, please feel free to drop that in the chat so that we will address them later. So without further ado, let's start with the first question. Okay. So this is a question, like we all know hackathons, we've been to hackathons, but a hackathon means different for different sets of people. For people like me, they just want to have fun, they just want to attend speaker sessions and get out of it. But for some serious people, they want to build hacks. So what do you people think? What defines hackathon from your perspective? Anyone would like to start? Maybe Yash, okay, Aditya, thank you. Go on.
Sure. So for me, hackathons are these crazy little sprints where I'm sitting with my team, going crazy about this idea that I'm building on because I want to rather than because it's being forced on me. And just having fun with all of these amazing other people, amazing other hackers and mentors there, trying to do the exact same thing.
Going crazy is, it seems.
Yeah,
It's a ton of fun.
putting laptop on fire and searching everything here and there. Yeah, that's loads of efforts. So, Pragati,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I guess for me, the best thing about hackathons is that all of us have these random ideas that we see that they have certain potential, but they often go on missing. But hackathons are such a platform that you could just, convert your random side project idea into a very good project along with a very good team. And usually, like if it's just a side project, I may neglect certain portions of it. But while working in a hackathon along with the team and seeing all other hackers working so hard, it gives you a certain inspiration to do more. So that's the fun thing about hackathons for me.
That was
Ah,
really inspiring
that's
for
yeah,
Aditya.
that's
What
nice.
about you?
Yash, you have been mentoring AMFOS for from a long time, I suppose. So, what have been your perspective from that position as well?
Hmm.
Yeah, so for me, the best part of a hackathon is like you get to work on something in a short period of time. Like otherwise, if you take something up as a side project, it will like sometimes you just kind of leave it. But in a hackathon, you take the project and for that period of 48 hours or 24 hours, you actually manage to completely build it into a working prototype. Like you have an end product by that time. A project which will otherwise take you like a couple of weeks or sometimes months, you manage to do it in that 24 hours along with networking, meeting with judges, meeting with new people. So that's my favorite part of a hackathon.
Yeah,
Huh.
interesting fact actually here. You should try to leverage
Yeah.
hackathon to power your motivation and build something out of it. That is something which should be really helpful.
Yes, and before we move to the next question, I would like to ask an optional question or an MCQ sort of question. What do you guys prefer, an offline hackathon or an online hackathon?
Offline.
I guess
Offline,
offline will
obviously,
be
offline.
Yeah.
obvious
Okay.
answer.
I have
Offline.
a
Everyone.
slightly different perspective on that. Um,
Okay.
okay, so I started hacking more in the online scenario. The first few offline hackathons that I had to go to, both of them got cancelled because of COVID. I had organized offline hackathons, and I think while offline hackathons have their own charm, the two hackathons I've won, the first one was the VS Code hackathon. Um, it wouldn't have been possible without the online scenario because these were globally run hackathons. And I
Yeah.
don't think we had seen global hackathons on this sort of a scale without a virtual transition. So online has opened up an unbelievable number of opportunities for so many more people who did not have offline hackathons near them as well. And I think that while
True
of course
that.
offline hackathons have their charm, online hackathons do bring something very special on the table in that place.
Yeah, actually it
Yes,
makes sense. You see a
exactly.
lot of hackathons happening around almost every, more than one in every week. That really gives an
At
equal
least there are
opportunity to
4 or
all of
5
the
every
people.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
that
actually,
is an interesting perspective.
removed the boundaries which we used to have in offline hackathons.
Yeah.
There was a limit to the range of participants or hackers which we
Yes.
were able to connect with. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
the thing which I also feel like. But I prefer
That's
offline.
so true. Offline is always
Yeah.
fun, but as an organizer, I'm very happy organizing online hackathons. I don't have to worry about bedding and food and logistics and college. Life is so much
Yeah.
easier in an online hackathon.
But I guess online hackathons have their own challenges as
Yeah,
the number of online
absolutely.
Yes,
hackathons have
exactly.
increased.
Yes, yes,
Also,
exactly.
number of fake submissions, trolling, and all these things have
So
also
much cheating.
increased. So that has to be taken care of.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
Aditya
so many
completely
false
relating to that
registrations.
point.
I
Being
just
an
want to
organizer,
offer.
hearing all this would
Yeah.
be triggering something. Yeah, in the back of his mind.
Exactly. So let's move to the next question. Okay. So the next question goes like, what is the required skill level for hackathon? So being a DSCD, let me just explain my scenario. That is, I have been, in recent touch with freshers and everyone. So they often, worry about what is the skill level should, what is the skill level which I should have in order to participate. In order to start, there is a barrier for everything, and that barrier is not too small to cross. So every time every hacker worries about this thing. So what are your views about this time? I'll start from Yash.
Yeah, so according to me, even if you don't know any coding, you are completely eligible to take part in a hackathon. All you need is the interest, and the most important thing is you should know how to Google. That is the most important thing, because any hackathon you take part in, you will almost never be working with your preferred tech stack. Like when I take part in hackathons, we end up like my like tech stack for front end, like for making the end product is Android apps. But in hackathons, I really make Android apps. I've made desktop apps using PyQt in a matter of just 4 or 5 hours. I've made web apps as fast. So the basic thing is you should know how to Google. That is the most important thing you should know. So that's what I'll say. Your basic skill level should be the basic skill you need to have is just the interest and the passion that, yeah, I want to make something. Besides that, the skill to Googling is the best skill you can have.
Yeah, true
Let's hear
that.
what the hacking out winner wants to say about this
Yeah.
question.
Oh.
Pragati, over to you.
Okay, so I guess Yash mostly said it. I don't think that you need to worry too much about the skill level before participating in a hackathon, because hackathons are such platforms that they really give you the exposure to explore more stuff, more skills. So it's like for me, as when I attended my first hackathon, I guess all I knew was just making a web page using HTML and CSS, and we just participated and we got to know about more frameworks, more things that people were actually building, and that's where I guess that's where I learned that what more things I can learn. So it actually helped me upskill later. So I guess. To all the beginners who are actually thinking to participate in a hackathon, they should just go for it. Whatever you know, whatever idea you have, just start building it. In most of the hackathons, they usually have mentors, so you have people to help you there. So they'll actually tell you what path you should follow. So I don't think there is much to worry for the skill level.
Yes, actually, I got loads of boost learning in the hackathons. Like, actually, I prefer to develop projects that way, wherein I set a barrier and guys, let's just do it somehow. Let's just boost and let's just explore boundaries and just get this done. So that's what I think. Aditya.
I totally agree. I think, rather than worry, I would say rather than worrying about this skill level, it is more important to keep an open mind, to remain a little versatile. Because what happens is that you can skill up excessively in one particular domain, and you might end up not using any knowledge from there during the hackathon, because the situations they're not gonna be exactly how you planned. No hackathon goes as it's totally planned. That I have never seen that happen. If that's happening, then you're very rigid. You're not willing to modify, and you will have to do that a lot of times in a hackathon. So it is important to keep an open mind. It is important to stay on your toes, and if it's all right to not know it. I mean, I'll tell you, I built my first mobile app at a hackathon. I used a database for the first time at a hackathon. I learned about cloud and serverless practically at a hackathon. I knew these were things, these were buzzwords, but all of my firsts came at a hackathon. And once I started off in a hackathon, I realized that it's not just the skill level, because whenever I'm actually building a project, I am not building it based on my memory or my knowledge about the specific language. I am sitting, I'm going through documentation, I'm finding tutorials at the moment, which is why I'm so happy that the whole point about the art of googling was mentioned earlier, because that is the most important skill at a hackathon. You need to know how to do
Agree.
that. If you know how to do that, the rest will be taken care of on its own.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
totally.
mostly like you should be more focused on the idea, like what you're trying to build,
Yeah.
and then the things just line up. Like what is the feature that you're about to add? You start googling about it, or search over Stack Overflow, or see some code over GitHub, and then you just move on to the next feature. And this is how things work. It's not basically like you are rigid and fixated to a particular skill that I know React, I'll be making just this. So it doesn't usually work that way.
Exactly. Just break down things and explore everything and how to develop it via Google or documentation, but just get that done. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, there seem to be a lot of interesting answers from you people. Let us
Mhm.
move over to the next question. This is a bit connected to the second question. So this question is, what should beginners try to take away from hackathons? As you could think that hackathon itself is a mix of a lot of events like speaker sessions, networking. There are some lot of things that are happening, and beginners who don't know any idea, who don't have much idea about it, they might get overwhelmed. Like, okay, I don't know, I'm not really sure that whether I should belong here or not. So, what do you think that beginners should try to take away the most? Like, what is that one thing? Maybe it could be exploration or anything. Yeah. What do you think? Let's start with Pragati. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, the suggestion for all the beginners would be that whenever you are participating in a hackathon, the best thing to do would be to explore more. There are lots of hackers there. Just communicate with them, even if like you have a certain idea. Try to communicate people about what are they trying to build, how are they trying to build. Try telling them your idea. You'll always be learning more this way, like communicating with people. We usually do build side projects. That's where hackathons are different, that there are more people, there is an entire community out there that you can actually communicate with, you can seek help, or you can just, you could be just telling people something new. So the best thing would be to be open to things and just explore, talk more, and that's it, I guess. Apart from this, I guess technical things are there, but the best thing I find about hackathons is, communicating with people.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that is actually true. I mean, we feel that it's like an opportunity where you get to meet with a lot of people. You don't really get these chances often at events. So, Yash, what do you think about it? What is your perspective on this?
Yeah, so the most important thing I feel is like for a beginner, like when you go to your first hackathon, you should observe the teams who win because you basically need to learn from them, like see what they did that you did not do. Since it's your first hackathon, you'll be able to learn a lot by just observing the team which won. You'll be able to see like their presentation skill, how they made their product. Even if they didn't complete their product, they still won. You'll be able to see how all of that works. And the next thing would be to accept kind of criticism to your project, because when judges judge a project, they'll give you a lot of opinions. Some of the opinions might not exactly match with yours, but the judges are experienced people. They are actually the people who are working in the industry. So if you listen to what they want, you'll be able to figure out exactly how to build your product better in the next hackathon take part. And another thing would be like the networking, as Pragati mentioned. Networking is one of the most important parts. You should talk with other people, you should tell your idea. Even if it's an idea you're not working on during the hackathon, you just mention an idea and get the opinion of other people on it. That will help you a lot. So yeah, networking, observing the winners, and talking to judges, interacting with them are the most important takeaways for a beginner.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Very true. I mean, you don't get such valuable criticism on your project, on your work. That's actually you. That's the only way you improve, I believe, in my opinion, until you say to the world, people say about your project, and then you try and learn. Awesome. Yeah, Aditya, go on. Seem to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a lot that I was thinking that has been covered already. I am very strong on the point of interacting with mentors because I remember when the VS Code hackathon happened, my team when gone with some sort of an idea of what we wanted to do. We took it to a mentor. Our mentor told us the potential the idea has. We took that to our pitch and we won. So that is literally the sort of impact interacting with the mentors can actually have at a hackathon. And consuming knowledge from wherever you can is very important. I really like the point about paying attention to the winners, because one thing that I have noticed is that, and I think for a lot of people, teams that are winning are not absolute new teams. That's not a very common scenario. It might be one thing when you have a best beginners prize or something like that, but for the overall winners, typically, in most cases, teams come with some amount of experience, and that also brings with them some sort of practices that they're using or following. It's always good to learn from wherever you can find these groups, because I know that there have been hackathons where I have lost a lot of times. That's the general case. But every single time has been a huge learning opportunity. And in all honesty, it's great to come that, with the mindset that you want to win. But the fact is that whether you win or you lose, there is so much that you have to take back anyway. You're always growing, you're always getting that exposure, you're getting experience, you're always learning something new. Because if you're not pushing yourself in a hackathon, then you're not essentially utilizing this opportunity that you have. So you're always going to end up growing. And keep in mind that the growth is what is going to take you farther and farther. So make sure that you focus on things that will help your growth, like interacting with mentors, interacting with fellow hackers, joining in sessions where you can either learn something new or you can interact with someone, because those are opportunities that will actually help you so much more later on.
I believe this was
Exactly.
a very valuable question. Let me just brief it all I heard. Okay. So the first thing was to explore, and the second was to follow the winners, try to evaluate yourself, use the opportunity, and then get help, because in hackathon mentors want to help you, and you don't get such opportunities. Okay,
I would
awesome.
like
I'm
to
learning a
Exactly.
add
lot from you people.
something.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
sure,
would like to
Pragati, go on.
actually add something like as beginners, we usually tend to look at different hackathons. Like, this is a small hackathon, that is a big hackathon. I would suggest never go by that mindset. It should be like, if you want to hack something, you want to build something, just go with that motive, like that you need to learn, you need to explore more. Not like, this hackathon has this much prize money, I'll be getting this or that. That is something I have often observed among the beginners. So it's like that would be one suggestion from my side, that, be more focused on the idea behind these hackathons rather than aiming for the prize.
Exactly. Like beginners should not, keep price as the only thing in their mind. They should keep loads of other things in mind. That is networking, breakout sessions, at least connecting with the mentors, because they are, someone who has experienced, a greater level of things to what they are up to as of their current status at that moment. So me completely relating things. So moving on to the next question, which goes like, how to find a problem statement. So we have covered on how to, build teams and what are the big takeaways, skill level, and everything. But where do we start from? Like, where do we get that thing in our mind to, develop anything? Aditya, we'll be starting off with you for this.
Sure. All right. So when we try to figure out problems, we first start with problems that we face ourselves. Um, when you have a problem that you're experiencing, you're trying to solve that. When you figure out one such problem, try to see whether it is a problem that those around you have faced in the past. And what happens is, a lot of times, you end up finding such common problems. That is a very good place to start, because when you are talking, when you're presenting, when you're discussing, your problem is going to make a huge difference. If it is a solution that solves a lot of people's issue, no matter how minute the issue may seem, if it solves the problem for many people, that is valuable. If it is a solution without a problem, it's not gonna go far in a hackathon, at least. So just try to figure out problems that you face, problems around you. Start by a small scale, then see how far beyond these problems actually go. Once you've got those two steps and you figure out a problem which covers both of those, you've got a legitimate, valid problem statement in hand.
Exactly. Like also in my opinion, like there is no solution which does not solve the problem, and I mean, until unless it's a portfolio, of course, you cannot present a portfolio
I,
in the
I actually
hackathon.
do have an example. I'm glad that came up. I actually do have an example because sometimes I'll tell you what, one thing within the tech situation, we try to innovate, but we tend to create complex solutions to problems that may not exist. So I remember there was this hackathon I was judging some time back, Hackoff, and they had this really cool AR VR solution to visualize food items on a menu. There was one project in the live judging. The problem was that, as much as this is cool, how do you ensure it's going to be similar to the final product? Who is going to design the AR VR model? So, by trying to create a sort of a solution, you've created 10 more problems. So that is where this comes, that it may not end up solving a problem, it might just end up creating so many more.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I was pointing out. No, you need like solution solves a problem, but it needs to be scalable. You cannot show up a
Yeah,
portfolio or some bakery website in a hackathon. It should solve a good problem, which can be scaled thereafter. Which you can show an idea that it can be scaled. What do you think, Pragati?
I totally agree with the things that Aditya said. Just adding a little bit more, like sometimes when we are about to participate in a hackathon and we see all these different tracks and themes, we usually come up with ideas and then we think that, something similar already exists. I would say that let's not stop at that point. That if there is something similar existing, maybe you can just innovate and build something new out of it, or something really different, or something that is much more efficient than the existing things. That is something that is more often. It occurs more often with people, that we are observing all these solutions around us. They are already existing, but something better could be done out of it. Sometimes, not just looking at the problem, but the existing solutions could also give you idea for something new.
Exactly, on point. Like that's. I mean, on point. That's all I can say about the answer. Yes.
Yeah,
What do you
so
think?
most of it was covered already. So the only thing I'll say, like, yeah, so the problem statement is like the most important part of the hackathon. So it is something that actually kind of matters to you as well. It should not just be like you are doing it just because the hackathon people are making you do it. It should be something that you want to work on and you want to solve. And Aditya already said, the first thing to do is to start looking at problems you face. You can ask your friends, family, relatives, anyone about common problems they might face in similar scenarios. Like if the track is healthcare, so you can just ask some people in your relatives, like somebody might be a doctor, you can just ask them that, yeah, what problems do you face? So that the problem they say will be a legitimate problem that needs to be solved. So just kind of like keep serving, ask people who are in that field about problems they face, and most of all, take into consideration problems you face every day, because as a common person, other people also definitely facing the same kind of problems. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with Yash. Like last a few weeks ago, I participated in a hackathon and I actually built something which would help me. So it didn't really matter that whether I wanted it or not. But what matters is I built something in the short amount of time and I'm happy about it. And yeah, PS I won the hackathon also. So that counts.
Uh, nice.
nice little cherry
Yeah,
on the top.
yeah. It was on the Hackers of
Yeah.
Galaxy we won. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next question. So, not really most people talk about like how many rounds are there and what is some of the guidelines that are followed. So, how many rounds are there to win hackathon in general? So, is there an evaluation process, the second round, third round, the finale? So, since you people have judged on hackathons, you people are the best people to answer the question. So, let's start with Yash.
Yeah, so actually this question varies a lot from hackathon to hackathon. There's some hackathons like SIH which span over months. So first you'll have to submit a problem statement. You'll have to submit an idea of how you aim to solve a problem statement. That will be evaluated. Then you'll get selected. Then you'll pass one round. Then there'll be another round and so on. So that's how SIH works. I guess Pragati will be able to tell that better when she gets to it. So I'll to do that. And then there are hackathons which are just like 24-hour hackathons. So in these also there's several kinds of hackathons. The first kind is like simply you will have a final judging. Then there are some hackathons in which you'll have like judging of your idea, how you aim to solve a problem. That will be the first round. The second round will be like how well you have managed to develop a prototype in around half the time. So that will be the second round, and then you'll have your final round in which they'll decide the finalists who will be proceeding to show their project. So they'll select around 7 to 8 finalists who will finally like display their projects, and out of those finalists, the winners will be chosen. So depending on hackathon to hackathon, it completely depends the round of judging. So basically, you should kind of keep continuously working on each stage. The most important stage is to clear the ideation phase, in which you come with a solid game plan. It should be malleable, of course, but you should have a basic game plan which you will follow throughout the hackathon. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, okay. I've seen a couple of hackathons, like they have their own system, and I think that is a very valuable insight. Pragati, over to you. What do you think? Like,
Yeah, as Yash said, I totally agree. I've judged a few hackathons, attended many hackathons, and as I've seen, saying it most generally, most of the hackathons usually have 3 rounds, but some of the hackathons like Smart India Hackathon, Hacking Out, these span over a month, and they usually have a longer procedure and many rounds of evaluation. But speaking like the usual way, most of the hackathons work. It is usually these 3 rounds, and they have evaluation after almost every round. And also, most of the hackathons have mentoring sessions as well, like a separate mentoring session and then an evaluation round. I guess. My advice would be to win a hackathon, you should be proactive in the mentoring session as well as the evaluation round. Like most of the people usually think that, mentoring in the mentoring session, you're not being evaluated, we're not being given points, so we can just be like present a normal prototype and just people just tend to ignore it. I would say that you should be proactive in the mentoring session as well and try to show your progress. You should be not just you should not just be showing your progress, but you can also be open about your problems. Because when you are talking about the problems that you're facing, you're actually telling those people that you're trying hard and you are just trying to build it in a better way. That's why you're having confusions or doubts about that certain thing. That always, it just helps you make the product better, as well as increases the chances of winning the hackathon, because ultimately those mentors will be giving you feedback, and they'll be also communicating the same to the organizers and the judges. So it is overall creating an impact. So I would say that you should be proactive in that phase too. And then other things would be like usually in these 3 round scenario, there are some people that who are very active in the first round, and then they tend to lose enthusiasm after the second round. It usually happens. So what I would say that people should actually like follow a modular approach about their project. You should try to divide, certain portions of your prototype or project that you'll be showing in the first round and in the second round, so that you show that you are actually making progress, not like you have just given up after trying certain things. So that is something that makes an impact on in a hackathon.
Show
yeah,
progress, that's a major point that needs to be taken care of, like, because like the hackathons in which I have participated, like the first, like I realized this thing in my first hackathon, like presented all the features which I had, like our team had developed, and then we realized in the second round of the evaluation, when our judges asked us that what's the thing which you have developed over time, what's the new feature which you have developed. So we were just blank there. So we just, that's the point, you need to divide things and then present,
okay,
Yeah.
present big
Another
things in the important rounds.
Yeah, I guess another thing would be like whatever feedback you're getting from the mentors or from the judges, do try to implement it if you have time. because that gives a very positive impact that you were actually listening to the feedback they were giving to you. So that's something that people need to keep in mind.
Yeah, the mentors and judges could be dropping out signs, and if you have the right ears to hear it and pick it up, then that could be super useful. Okay. So I had a question. Let me just modify this question a bit for Aditya. So Pragati and Yash talked about hackathons, which usually span for a longer time, which has 3 rounds, ideation, and a lot of stuff happens. People have time. So what do you? How would it differ for a hackathon which just happens all within a week, like everything, all rounds, judging and prize announcement, everything within a week? So how should hackers be prepare themselves for such kind of hackathons?
So a lot of hackathons now, even within shorter formats, at least within virtual, we have seen a lot of hackathons transition to a situation where there is just one round. You submit a video, a little pitch, and your project in the end. Um, in that sort of a situation where you have that short a time of evaluation, and I know for a fact because some of the hackathons that I've judged in some because at Major League Hacking, all of our hackathons have just one round of evaluation in the end. What you have to do is you have to ensure that the quality of your video. One thing I will always iterate on is make sure you focus on how you're presenting your idea. Tech is great, tech is amazing, but to be honest, if your solution works, there is very little scope of evaluation between who's got a better tech stack. Because just for example, if you've got two web-based projects, one has used Vue, the other has used Angular, and then you might have a third with React. You can't differentiate which one is better in all cases, right? You because they're all three major standards. So after it's more than that, more than the tech stack, it's the idea and how you're solving that problem. That is what makes it different. So make sure that you're able to present that very clearly in shorter formats because um, one flow that I typically keep in mind is that when I am presenting my idea, I will always start with my journey, my inspiration. If I can bring a personalized story to my problem, that is better. Otherwise, I start off with my inspiration, my journey, my problem, and then I get to how I solve it. That's the sort of flow that I try to keep. Then I come to how I created the solution, and a bit about what the future scope is for this particular project. That is a good sort of a format in shorter hackathons, and I think DevPost has done a great job with their template.
Yeah.
The template they could give, I think that's really helped a lot. Um, One thing I will mention again on that point is that even if you miss out on certain aspects that you wanted to do, be careful about how you present these because
Yeah.
every time you have a feature that you can develop, you can always present it as a future plan or future scope. So you need to be very mindful of how you're presenting because you have very little time to make an impression. So carefully plan your pitches because fact is in shorter format the pitch is not all about the tech. It's gonna be about your idea and how you're solving the idea and how you're presenting it. Make sure you focus on that. And if your demo is comfortable, you're not going to have a problem for your written pitch because your demo will be based on your written pitch. You end up writing the written pitch first anyway. That's something that I've typically seen as a trend. So if you've put in the effort in your written pitch, your demo, you're not going to have too much of a problem, but make sure you're thinking about it from the very start and not leaving it for the last half an hour.
I would
Yeah,
just
that is.
like to add to this just a point that came up in my mind. Most of the people, while doing the presentation, they mix it up like they make all these, fancy designs, and they think that, just presenting that, it will be impressing the judges. I would just like to say that's not all. That's obviously a very prominent part of of the presentation that you have good designs and create an impact with that. But that's not all. Try to be try to divide your presentation very well so that you have the content as well as the designs ready. So that the judges do not get a feeling that you've not made anything. You're just trying to make an impression out of the design. So make time so that the judges could see your designs as well as the demo that the actual prototype that you have actually built. Some of the people
I love
usually.
that point. I want to add something very important there. When you're demoing, as a judge, I do not want to see your code in your demo video. Your
Yeah.
demo video can be used for so much other stuff to share. Do not spend time showing your code because, in all honesty, so if I go in as a judge, I work with cloud and mobile. If you have an ML or an AI project and you show me the code, I'm not gonna understand what's happening anyway. But what it shows to me is that you have spent this much time showing me something which may not impact your idea at all. So don't try to show your code. If you've done that work, then you know your prototype is gonna be functioning in the demo anyway. If I see a demo in there, I am not worried about how that code has been written. I just need to focus more on the idea and how that problem is being solved.
Also,
Wow,
like
wow. So,
usually the
okay.
time span for presentation is like usually 3 to 5 minutes in most of the
Sometimes even
hackathons.
lesser. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I've often seen people, they try to explain each and every feature that they have in that particular website or app. Nobody wants to see that you have that login and sign up feature. Like, that's the
Exactly.
usual stuff that usually works in any of the projects. You do not need to focus on that. Focus on the MVP of your project. That is the most
Exactly.
crucial thing that you have worked for. That would be the thing that makes your idea different from others, not the login sign up feature. So that's one thing.
Yeah, like
Absolutely
Abhinav
agree to
said,
that.
please don't
Yeah.
build a bakery setup portfolio. So,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I hope somebody
Try-
is taking notes because there are some valuable insights over here. And there is an
yes.
interesting question which was in the comments, and it revolved around what you people were saying, like work on your idea, try to solve that one idea. And this is the question we got from the comment: how to think extraordinary ideas. So
Yeah.
for
Where do
some,
these come from? Do you meditate or, you
yeah.
know, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, you have problems generally in life, but how do you have
Yeah.
problems that you can work
Yeah.
and build a hack on?
Figuring a problem is little tough, even currently, we are streaming, our data is exhausting, that's a problem, and develop something. That's a big problem.
Develop something. Buy a good
Yeah, that's
internet,
that.
Abhinav.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
No,
I
I have
totally
it. Yeah. Yes,
I guess
Pragati.
I totally
Pragati.
relate to this. Like when me and my team was, trying to figure out what is the problem statement that we should be trying to solve for in-out, we were like very confused. What should we pick up? And then I guess what worked for me and my team was like we tried exploring many different hackathons and the submissions that were made to those hackathons. It usually drops you a rough idea like what other people were trying to solve. Sometimes that gives you an inspiration, maybe not the exact same. I mean, you should not build the exact same thing, but obviously it gives you like an idea of a similar thing that you can try on, or a similar feature. You could also like go over places like, I guess, Hacker News has that special showcase feature in which there are projects being dropped every week, and those are, or you can just follow some of the, I guess, channels over Reddit. These are the places where usually developers dwell, and they keep sharing what they have been building. So maybe you can just pick up someone's naive idea and build something more to it. So that is one thing that you that could give you the starting inspiration for a project.
Yeah, getting inspiration from people who have done that. That is a
That's
really
always
beautiful
a
thing.
thing. And the best part about this question is the explicit use of the word extraordinary, because the fact is every single idea at its inception has the potential to be extraordinary. The only thing that takes it from ordinary to extraordinary is the number of people you're solving the issue for. The moment you have any problem which is solved for a huge, insanely huge number of people, that's really where it becomes extraordinary,
Yeah.
because you have made these, because you're essentially saying that you can make these many people's life easier.
Yes.
That's
Like,
where it becomes extraordinary.
yeah, the amount of impact is directly proportional
Yeah,
to the
that is
amount of
right.
extraordinary idea you got. Yeah, would you
Exactly.
like to tell
Except the
about the
baker's website.
extraordinary?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
When you
you don't
get
really
to
need
the
to.
bakery, Yeah, go on. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't need to
yes.
hunt for these extraordinary ideas. These extraordinary ideas are the problems you face in your life
They're there in
daily.
your daily
Like,
life. Yeah.
yeah, like Abhinav just mentioned, like we are on the stream, our data is being exhausted. What can we do? This problem is solved. Just imagine how many people it would impact all over the world, especially in the current scenario. And just the top of my head, you could actually solve this problem. One thing like you could do is use the buzzword nowadays called machine learning to build encoders, decoders to kind of compress a video while it's being transmitted over like transmitted right now. That could be a potential solution to reducing the bandwidth. So that's how extraordinary ideas come. Just pick up the ordinary problems in your life, the everyday life you're facing. Don't think it's too simple. Like what Abhinav just said might sound simple because you're facing it every day. But if you solve this problem, just imagine the potential of the solution you make. Just imagine how
Yeah.
many people it will impact. So that's how ideas are born. You just pick on a common idea and just start working on it. Don't think that it's too simple. If it could be anyone else could also solve it, but no one is solving it actually. So just pick it up and work on it.
Yeah, there was an interesting
That's so
point
true.
which Yash shared, the amount of people it is gonna impact. Actually, that could be the drive which motivates you to build a hack. At least Abhinav would be happy if you build a hack. That is all who can't.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to
This
team up
legit
with this
happened at
panel.
Imagine
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah,
This
this is the
this
best
legit
team I
happened
built.
with our team at Imagine Cup because we just had this problem. So the problem that my team we were trying to solve is that whole idea was revolving around how people can't learn how to code because they don't have computers. We're anyway learning where we have pen and paper in school. We've got mobile phones. Mobile phones are more easily accessible than computers. So our solution essentially was you click a picture, it'll extract the code, you can edit it and you can run it. That was the basic solution. We created an idea around that. And the fact is that purchasing computers is barely possible for a majority of people in developing countries. So, something that might have been happening in just your society or your neighborhood scales up to 85% of the world. That is the extent of developing countries in the world today. And it's that simple an idea. And to be honest, we used so much of cloud services that if you would sit at it, it would take a week to build you something similar. Barely a week. But no one else had done that in the past. Someone knows code capture here. I'm so happy. Someone recognizes the project in the chat. I'm so happy about that. Um, but that's
Aditya is
legit
so
what it
happy.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, there's
And
one question which I would like to ask for, like, concern to your hack which you developed. That is the code written irrespective of the resolution of the image that is being clicked? Because
All right. So
majorly, I don't know if you
with
have
our
seen those.
OCR,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, I know that's a totally legitimate problem. So what we've done is with OCR, at least since we were using cognitive services, Cognitive
Okay.
Services accepts images with the resolution as low as 40x 40 pixels. And apart from that, at least even if we had higher resolution images, for our data transfer, we were converting to base 64 first. So that automatically decreased our image size by 2/3. So there was just 1/3 of the size
Oh,
that was left when transferring data. So that made a difference there.
oh my goodness.
I would
That's
just
really
like
amazing. Yeah, yeah.
I would just like to add, all you beginners can see the happiness over Adit's choice. This is the motivation that we hackers we carry to these hackathons. That is the reason you should be
Yeah,
participating in these hackathons. So as to feel this happiness when someone talks about your project, someone recognizes your
yeah,
project.
Yeah, exactly. Vibe to your project for 24 hours at least. And if someone appreciates it, feels so amazing. And then you want to do that thing again, then, let's just go and participate. Let's just, put a laptop on fire and then just develop something.
and
Yeah,
and that it's so
that's,
Good
important
luck.
because hackathons allow you to actually build for yourself. You're not being pressurized to work on a certain project. You're not doing it because you have to build a project. You're doing it because you need to solve this problem. You have this idea. That's why you're doing it. You're doing it for yourself. It's not like you
exactly.
have of some faculty telling you that you need to work on certain questions or build a certain project for an assignment. It's not an assignment. It's nothing less
Exactly.
than art, to be honest. It is art for its own sake. That is what it is. So
That is
it's
actually
something
Exactly.
you do for
Yeah.
yourself.
that is actually what I love
Until
the
and
most
unless
about
your
hackathons.
administration, yeah, and like I was lying to sum up this thing that until and unless your administration pushes you to participate in an hackathon, it's fun. Until and unless your
Yeah,
Yeah.
administration
yeah,
pushes you.
maybe one day
Yeah.
I'll see it. Yeah, this is what
Maybe
I
one
love the
day.
most. I mean, you get to build what you are passionate about.
All
It's
I
not
can
somebody
say to
else's
this is
problem.
hope plus plus.
Yeah. Hope plus plus. Okay, so here's a trivia question which I was asked on my WhatsApp chat 2 days ago, and I just pulled it out. And so the question goes like, will writing a C++ code make me win a hackathon? This fresher guy was too much confused about the hackathon. He was excited, and I won't deny that, but he just knew how to code in CPP. So that was something which majority of the freshers think that okay, that's the first time experience which everyone experiences. You hear the word hackathon, you see there are loads of cash prizes, and you just wonder that why are they giving so much money to just a winner of a hackathon. What is a hackathon? And when you ask your friends, they say you have to code in it, and okay, I have to code in it. I can code the best. Then you go and ask questions like these. So what should be an appropriate answer for this, except link to this webinar, of course?
Okay, so it really depends what you want to do with C++. So, because there are frameworks for C++ with which you can legit go ahead and build web apps. You can use C++ in front end with WebAssembly. That is a legitimate possibility. So, if you're able to build something that a common person can comfortably use with C++, by all means. If you cannot do that with C++, then move to something else. And the best part is there is such a variety of things you can try and work with. Like I regularly work with C Sharp and .NET. I don't even sit on JavaScript and Python because I don't, I can't write JavaScript and Python. But
Okay, that's
every
nice.
P.S.
language has.
Aditya is a JS and Java hater. No, he's not a
To be
hater,
honest,
but a .NET
I
lover. Yeah.
started learning JavaScript. I used to do Java. I jumped onto into C Sharp from Java because they're very similar. I do not like Python. Very sorry for any Python people. I do not like Python.
That's
But
interesting.
there
The
is so
way,
much.
yeah,
There's so much you
the
can do
way
with C++
I, yeah,
as well.
okay.
So there's
Please
always
speak,
so much
Aditya.
possibility with everything. Yeah, no, I'm done.
Yeah, we
No, no,
understand,
please,
Aditya.
please.
You hate Python and
Yeah,
JavaScript. So,
yeah, that
The
happens.
loveliest part is that one of my teammates, he's an absolute Python expert. Ekansh Gupta was an absolute Python expert in
Okay.
my team.
okay, sounds
So
good. Uh-huh.
I used to have so much fun because he was like, we'll try to solve something with Python and I used to do it with C Sharp and he's like, hey, ye bhi ho sakta hai.
Yeah,
So does
actually,
your
you know
team deal
what?
with these extremes?
Thank you so
Exactly.
much for that, Divya. Xamarin is love.
Oh,
Xamarin.
Yeah,
Xamarin, I've hardly heard people use Xamarin.
It
You're one
is
of
yeah.
them.
so underrated.
Aditya,
It is so
I
underrated.
okay.
one word for Zamarian, Aditya. That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I started my journey was I read C++ books and I coded in Java. So I did this for 4 years, legit for 4 years. For no reason, I was actually, hunting for books, and I don't know why I didn't went to library. I asked my, tuition teacher that what should I do. He did coding in C++, so he just gave me this book, of Yashwant Kanetkar, and he said
okay.
that there are, all libraries and everything in it. You can actually code in Java. So I did that for 4 years, and then I switched to JavaScript, and now I don't know Java. So that's that thing. It's been 3 years since I've been practicing JS. So with 4 years of Java, so of course Java will be way behind that. So that's fine. So
Basically,
That
my
is
yes,
life
something
is
that
also
often
yeah,
similar to
happens.
Abhinav, just that
yeah.
I didn't spend any time on Java. I directly jumped onto JavaScript after C++. It's like after getting into college, there was this JavaScript thing which has a lot of NPM packages. Everybody was just open sourcing like crazy on it. So, okay, I want to get into it. Let me try this one. So, and it was the transition, the ability of JavaScript to do things. I know there is a lot of hate with JavaScript because you can build something very quickly with JavaScript, but the right way, it's very hard. So that is something I totally agree with. I'm working upon, but it's easy to get started. I
Yeah,
believe that is why a lot of people prefer JavaScript over Dart or .NET. So yeah,
yeah,
There's something that I wanted to add as Harish started saying something about open source. A sudden thing that struck my mind was like, we usually like I don't do that, but I've seen people do this. That after the hackathons are over, the project is done. They usually leave the project. It's like you did most of the portion in the 24 hours, but there's still more that could be done to that project. So one of the suggestions from my side to most of the people would be like one thing that could be done most easily would be that your code would be on GitHub. Just open source it, like include a few GitHub bots, include these code of conduct, contributing guidelines, etc. And then the community is so large that if you have built something good, if you have worked on something, some good idea, people would be interested in contributing to that. And in that way, that a particular idea or that particular project would not die just after after a week, after a hackathon. So that is one thing that I would suggest people to please do, so
yeah.
that these
Actually,
That is
I've
such
ideas
a
just
lovely
evolve.
point.
yeah, I
And
totally agree with you. I've seen that happen to
continuing
one of
projects.
my friends.
This is something we actually did with Code Capture. There was a 6 to 8 month journey. Started as a VS Code extension, went to a cross-platform app, then went to a web app. And the web app in its current state is hidden, but the Xamarin cross-platform app is open source right now, so anyone can check it out, use it, and work with it. And it's actually very important to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, also
yeah.
like
Can
you
audience
can.
have the link to that?
Yeah, I'll send the Xamarin link. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that this is one thing that you can get feedback during the hackathon, but once you open source it, it's like open to a more wider community. More people will be contributing to it. They'll be giving you more feedback about your project, and maybe someday someone can just actually give you enough inspiration to let that idea move to a bigger place, as it happened to my in-out submission standout. We were actually a bit of in a struggling phase when we started with the journey, because we wanted to work on just a Chrome extension. And then with the help of the mentors and the judges at in-out, we actually made it like a proper a platform where you could get the recordings of any of your meetings and get the meeting summary out of any online meeting that you have. So this is the way that hackathon projects could be made into something very big and special for your portfolio as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
I
very
see.
true. You
Yes,
can
yeah.
just Yeah, you can just like
Yes,
open
sir.
source an app, and the best thing that will happen is people will, if they like, if a project actually has a value, people will come and like themselves implement features. If you just open a few issues, you like mention that this is a potential feature to do, people will come and will actually do it. Like Hacktoberfest is one great opportunity. Like if
Exactly,
you use
Hacktoberfest.
it
Yeah,
properly, not like just spam PRs, use it properly to do it. You can just hunt for decent hackathon projects as well. You will see that the developers have created issues. Go to those issues, and those people will actually fix those issues. So open source is a very powerful thing. People you don't know at all, but who have a lot of skill, will just stumble upon a project and they'll do stuff you would not even have imagined that your app could do someday. Like for example, this is not a hackathon project. This is just a regular open source project called Github. I was once working on. So there was a long-awaited feature in the KVX, in the main library. So that required a lot of work to do, and yeah, it was lagging a bit. But then one complete stranger came. That guy had never once made a single PR to the application before, but he faced an issue which could be solved by fixing the initial issue in the library. So that guy did the entire work. He fixed the issue. He sent the PR, and the PR got merged. So this is how open source works. People will see the value in your project, and they will definitely come and contribute. So that will help a lot. And yeah, the original question, which was, can you CPP or not? So I'll agree with Aditya said completely. Like, if you think CPP can solve your problem, go ahead. You can definitely link CPP with a lot of stuff. Like, you can even link it for Android development using Android NDK. You can build an Android app using CPP. And as Aditya said, you can make a web app. So if you can solve a problem, you use CPP, because in the end it doesn't matter what tech stack you use. What matters is the only thing that matters is whether the solution works or not, whether people will be able to use it or not. So that's how you make it. And the most important thing, again, another thing would be, it should be very accessible to people. Like, it should not like cater to only a few people. One of the most important things should be accessibility. How will you scale it? Like, how can it accommodate a more expanding user base? So that's something you should take care of and mention in your future goals. So that these are some things you should basically take care of while building a project, and consider your tech stack according to that as well.
Exactly. So the things which a proper hackathon project should have is a big audience, is a proper problem, and one more thing which I'm missing out.
Accessibility
Proper,
and the impact.
yeah, yeah, accessibility and the impact. So these are the things which need to be taken care of with the person who can Google properly about its components. Yeah, that's all what is required, and yeah, that's what it is. Harish.
And I think we indirectly answered the question how to win a hackathon. So I believe the
Yeah,
watchers got the
Yeah.
signs and picked up it. So these are the things people. And yeah, I hope you build around. Actually, it's very true. The accessibility, the impact, how much people you're gonna able to touch, and then actually let them use it. That matters. I believe that's the most judging criterion, and most judges do. So
Actually,
exactly.
that's the
So
major portion of the final round in most of the hackathons. You know, how accessible your entire project is, because ultimately the judges panel could comprise of like variety of people. Some of them may not be even be familiar with the stack that you have worked with. So they are not considering your code, but they are just using your app or your project as a particular user. So, how friendly your app or your website is to a user, that is the thing that is making the ultimate impact. So, code is not everything, but like
yeah,
code,
it's something
you
which will
actually
build a
have
layout for
to,
yourself.
it's a
Yeah,
tool.
It
So
enables you to solve a problem, but the
mm,
yeah,
focus
it
has to
enables
be
you to,
solving the
yeah,
if
problem
the
and the
idea is
problem.
yeah.
if your
yeah.
idea
You
is to
need
Mostly
to
build a
it's
be,
bit of
like
it.
yeah,
Mostly it's like in these hackathons, you have to think and work in proportions. You do not have to like focus on just one thing and move in that
Yeah.
direction. Proportion is very important in this. Like you cannot be totally
e-
focused on just coding, and you cannot be just focused on just presentation. You have to just maintain a balance between the two
Yes.
to win a hackathon.
exactly. So I think we can ask for the audience to drop in their questions for the webinar if they have any, which I don't think there will be, but if there are, we are glad to have them. Please post in the comments and we'll ask your questions straight away to our esteemed speakers. And moreover, before, like, by the time our audience drops some questions, if they have, let's hear out the last words which our speakers have to say about the hackathons which we are conducting, that is Bitbox and Hack and ITR 2.0, along with a keynote or an ending note wherein, a word which they can pass to all our hackers listening to this.
Yes, that would be perfect.
I guess I'll go first
Let's,
because
yeah,
I
sure.
am
Sure.
I'll be mentoring both of these hackathons.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually the
really
mentor
great.
here, so I would actually urge more and more people to participate in these hackathons. Maybe we can, focus on some ideas, build something new out of these, and I hope that more and more people participate in here and. The entire discussion that we had during this webinar would have been really helpful to the beginners at least. I hope that
It's very helpful to me.
this,
I learned a lot of stuff.
I
Yes.
hope that everyone makes use of them and they can, add more value to their lives and create more impact in the community.
Thank you so much, Pragati. Thank you so much. Yes, would you
Yes. Yes.
like to speak a few
Yeah,
words?
so I encourage every viewer to absolutely go and participate in both of these hackathons. Like, even if you think that it might be a bit tough for you or something, just go ahead and participate. Don't hesitate at all. Like, you've seen all the mentors right here, Pragati. You've seen how willing she would be to help you. So just imagine like around like 20, 30 more mentors like her in the hackathon to help you all throughout the journey. So just imagine what kind of growth it will be for you. So just go ahead, participate. It will be a great learning experience. In the end, whether you win or you lose, you will like come out with a lot of knowledge. So just go ahead and participate. And I really hope that we were able to like address some of your doubts and you found the session really useful.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you
thank you
so
so
much, Yash, for your insightful insightings which you dropped about the hackathon. And link to register for the hackathon is present in the description for those who are struggling right now to find the link. And Aditya, over to you to your keynote.
Just make sure you enjoy yourself. You know, it's always, we always take hackathons with such a gravity at times. Sure, it's all right if you want to take it seriously by all means, but make sure that you do not miss out on enjoying, because our experiences due to which we've grown is the fact that we really immersed ourselves into these activities. And if you're doing that properly, you're gonna have fun. If you're not having fun, you're focusing. Either you're pushing yourself way too hard, you're putting a burden on yourself. Please do not do that. These hackathons, as much as they're focusing around building amazing stuff, are also an escape in their own way from the pressure and the problems that you have otherwise. Because I say I come, I relax, I enjoy, I feel happy at hackathons because I think for a bit of time, I do not have to deal with academic pressures. I do not have to deal with application pressures. So it's really just enjoy these experiences, let go of all of those worries, and immerse yourself in these, and just do what you need
Yeah,
to do for
just
yourself.
vibe to the projects, have a smiling
Yeah,
face, build something
Yeah,
amazing, and then be happy. Just look at Aditya.
yeah,
He's so happy. He was so
he's
happy
so
about this project.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to
So
be that stressed out about winning or just if
yeah,
actually,
no
in my
need to be
opinion, if
stressed
you
out.
put too much stress, I don't think you will learn anything useful. If you're just enjoying if you're being passionate about what you're building, or maybe just it is all you
yeah.
care about is just the mini events or something, just go and have fun. Maybe you'll learn something. If you have an open mind, then
Yeah.
you should be looking out for exploring.
This is actually
Yeah.
advice for any work you do. You should enjoy the work a lot. Only then will you be able to benefit from it. If you're just doing
Exactly.
something under pressure, it's like academics. You won't actually enjoy it. So
So
just
nobody likes
enjoy what you're
academics.
doing and do it.
Okay.
Exactly. So there's one question in the comments which we are putting forward, which is from Shraddha Kapoor, which says, "Ma'am, I guess it's specifically for Pragati, on
Repeat.
how to contribute to open source in spite of this schedule of exams and coding, though." And which is that there's a follow-up question, which is, and how to learn a beginning of GitHub and some other platforms.
Okay. So as far as I understand the question, how to learn to use Git and GitHub. I guess there are enough resources available to learn Git and GitHub. Mostly you could find videos over YouTube, or you could just, I guess, the best resource that I have found till date to learn how to use Git and GitHub would be there is a tutorial guide available on DigitalOcean that actually tells you what are the very basics of Git and GitHub, the basic commands, and how the entire flow of Git works. So that would be the best place for any of the beginners to begin with if they want to learn. And then how to contribute to open source in spite of the schedule of exams and coding. I guess this is what each one of us faces. You actually have to prioritize things. You have to make time. This is like more of a time management thing. You have to see how much focused you are on your academics or on the projects that you're building. It always works like you have to prioritize. You can like divide your time you have to devote like 2 or 3 hours to whatever open source contributions you're making, and rest of the time you can devote to your academics. It would be just be fine. Like contributing to open source, don't need to spend entire day doing that. So this is something that you have to work, and you have to see how your schedule is. You just have to pick up 2 or 3 hours for open source thing. Or I guess you can just try something like 100 days of code challenge. I have
Yeah,
seen many people follow that. It's just that you have to pick up 1 hour out of your day to contribute to open source or work on some technical project. I guess that way you will grow more consistent, and then you can just get in the habit of contributing to open source.
Exactly. So there are two things, which are time management and prioritizing
priority.
things. Otherwise, once someone follows a schedule, you'll just fit into that bucket and you'll just follow that thing, and you'll be so used to that schedule that you won't think it of as a burden once you do it on a daily basis. Or there's one more option, you can do it like me, study,
Which is not
pull out
recommended.
all nighters for exams. Yeah, just do that and do development all months, all years, do it for years, nobody cares, but don't drop your grades. That's something important
Yeah,
which I did. So
yeah. We
And
might
that's
Yeah,
say
like,
like
that
in
don't
both of
over
these
pressurize
things.
yourself.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah,
over
exactly.
pressurize yourself. Don't force yourself. If you feel at times you need a break, take a break. Don't be like,
Exactly.
if I can't take out maybe 3 hours, 4 hours a day, if I do not have that time, then I will not be able to do anything. Yeah, please don't force yourself into a situation, where you're just turning this into a job and you're not. You have to, again, this is also an experience that is really revolving around the sort of enjoyment you get from it, so you need to enjoy this. And if you lose the enjoyment factor, if you lose the happiness factor, if it becomes a job, then that is a practice that cannot sustain. So either the
Exactly.
habit
Don't
goes,
create a bubble.
you
Yeah.
collapse. And both of them
yeah,
are
Yeah.
bad
our
situations.
Yeah, I've seen many beginners, they usually get confused in the beginning phase of making these open source contributions. Most of them are not able to navigate through these large code bases. Sometimes they are not able to find the correct issues that they want to work upon. So these are the things that usually stress people out. What I would say is that take your time in exploring these code bases. It's not like no one is saying that you have to explore the entire code base or make that particular PR in just a single day. You have time. Open source is like it's always open to you. Whenever you have time, whenever you feel comfortable that you want to contribute to that particular project, you want to add that particular feature, then do it. It would be like it doesn't matter that you are slow. Just try to be steady. It's like you can leave it for a day or two, but like if you want to do it, actually, you need to be a bit consistent about it. Just don't entirely leave that thing. You can take breaks, obviously, as Aditya mentioned. Um, but
I have a little quote that I wanted to throw in on that point. and this is
Okay,
something
we
I
finished with
forked
a
from
note.
Eddie Jauda, and that
Oh,
is
okay.
open source is just like brushing. Do a little, do it every day. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be you spend your life on it. Just do a little, do it every day.
Yeah, and do
And
twice.
make
Yeah.
Do
sure,
twice.
yeah,
Yes,
and make
yes.
sure to
Sorry.
take breaks. It should not be like you can take breaks, you should take breaks. Like
Yeah,
in a month, at least take 2 days completely away from a laptop, completely away from work, and just do non technical stuff, read books, learn some musical instrument, do some gardening, anything. Just take some time away from laptop as well. That's very important, as Aditya said. Breaks should be taken. You are a human, you cannot work all the time like a
yeah,
machine. That will only reduce your efficiency. So
Yeah.
if you take a break and the next day you will definitely return to your work with a higher efficiency.
Yeah, that too with all
Exactly.
the things
So,
happening online and
burnout
we
is
being stuck
bad.
to our laptops for almost all parts of the day.
yeah.
It's like very hard to we easily lose time. That's what I have done. Then I realized, okay, this is not something
But
which I
still,
want
I
to do.
have a doubt about this.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was mentioned that we can take breaks. Yeah. Right. And
Yeah.
Aditya mentioned that, contributing to open source is like brushing every day. So
Regularity is the
we
essence.
can
Regularity is the essence. Exceptions
yeah.
can be
So
rules.
yeah. So you can skip brushing for 2 to 3 days on
Yeah,
open
it is
source.
something like
The note is from
when your
Yash.
toothpaste is over,
Yeah.
you have to actually skip that day. It's something like that.
Ex-
Toothpaste is
Yeah,
like your enthusiasm. When it's over, you have to skip that day.
like seriously,
exactly.
burnout is
So
real. It is
yeah.
bad. It can screw you over. Do not
Yeah.
push yourself to
Yeah.
a point where you're getting burnt out. It is very unhealthy.
No, actually, it's not that bad. I've been doing
It's
this practice for
definitely
three
very
years.
impactful.
It's not that bad. Yeah, but it's bad. I
Yeah,
agree.
I
The
believe
It's
thing
that
is,
bad.
this is
it affects everyone differently. If you can sustain through
Yes.
burnout and then get out all right, by all means. But
Abhinav is God then.
Yeah.
Abhinav,
No. Yeah. No. Still,
seen the light side.
I
Abhinav
still
is
have a
at
point.
different level.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's still one more point
Yeah,
which was highlighted in this thing, that try out things. That's the most important thing.
yeah,
Try out thing, because then like that is the thing which will tell you that what are you better at. You might or might be not better at burnouts. You might be better at doing the thing every day. You might be better at doing things on weekends, or everyone has a different schedule. So just try out things,
yeah,
and once you get to know, you will be best at it. That's the thing.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just
So
another
you can
thing
find
that
all our, yeah, one more thing. Yeah, please.
Just another thing that usually people do stop when they get confused, exhausted, or when they feel that they are lost. But I guess nowadays in this online scenario, most of the help that you're seeking is available freely over LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. There are tons of people who are ready to help you. You just need to be there on the platform, speaking out on your problems. What is the issue that you're facing? Like I totally love Twitter for this. The developer community over Twitter is just great. So, in case any one of you is facing any of the problems, you can just voice it out there, or you can just jump it in the DMs of people who are ready to help. So it's like never stop for such things.
And don't
Always
ever be
be,
afraid of asking for help.
yeah, be open to asking questions more and more.
Okay.
Exactly. So I think we are done. We have covered majority of the things of the hackathon, the crux of development. Everything in context to what is a hackathon and how to be best started, which was the sole motive. Moreover, you can find all our speakers on Twitter, links to which have been dropped in the comments already, and I'm dropping the link to Yash Khari's Twitter handle as well. So he has a complex username. Just take care of that. It's P0 beer, and I find it
I have to say, very cool
nice.
username to be honest.
Yeah, it's very hard to come up with a cool
Yeah.
name.
Actually replacing O's with zeros, and replacing S with 8. That
Elite
looks
code,
cool.
basically.
Yeah, elite code.
Looks.
So, yeah,
None, yeah,
if the viewers wants to reach out to the speakers, they are very welcome to reach out to
yeah,
the Twitter
Anytime.
handles.
yeah. They'll be happy to help you guys, and more
Yeah,
nonetheless. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Pragati. Thank you, Yash. And thank you so much, my friend Harish, for getting all the arrangements done on time, of
and
course.
yeah,
We need a
thank you
little
so much.
cheers for the hosts. I think they've hosted very well as well. One cheers for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, thank
Thank you
you
so much.
so much, Yash, Pragati, and
And we'll
Aditya. It
cheer
was
for
really great.
you to, yeah, we'll cheer for
Yeah.
you to drop, so much valuable insights, because uh, I don't know if doing some, like, one person guiding a bunch of people might not be effective than a bunch of experienced people guiding a bunch of other people. So that is all. I
That
just
was the
made
whole point
conclusion
of
from
the
something.
session. We
Yeah,
wanted to bring out your opinions and perspectives because they are not. Maybe this could be useful. I mean, I and Mabina might not have some valuable points with us to share, but you would
yeah,
have. That was the
I
whole
guess
point of it.
that's the best thing about community and then panel
Yeah.
discussions where each of
Yeah.
us have different experiences. So we are
Exactly.
ourselves discussing and experiencing. We are actually exploring others' experiences as well. So more value gets added as we are discussing the things that we have faced. Aditya as an organizer, I as a mentor, and then we have also been participants. So we have all these varied experiences put at a single place.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally,
exactly.
totally.
So, the viewers who are still watching this webinar, do recommend this to your friends who are still struggling on what is a hackathon and how to be best at it. So,
Yeah,
that was the sole point of the webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much again, speakers. Thank you, Harish. And let's
yeah.
end this
Thank you.
session. Bye bye, everyone.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.